Yes. So in the last class, we have discussed about offer. So in the last class, we have discussed about offer. So what do you mean by offer? Offer is nothing but a proposal, isn't it? Offer is nothing but a proposal. So it can be made by one person to another. So the person who is going to make an offer is known as offerer, and the person who is going to accept the offer is known as offeree, isn't it? So for contract, for any contract, offer is necessary, isn't it? That is a starting point in any contract. Offer is a starting point in any contract. Then we have discussed about what are the legal rules regarding the offer. So all the 14 points in the last class we have discussed about the offer. So now we need to see about termination or lapse of offer. Next thing we need to see is about termination or lapse of offer. What do you mean by termination? Termination means cancellation. So when and all or under what circumstances offer comes to an end? When and all or under what circumstances offer comes to an end? So there are several circumstances which are mentioned. Now we need to see one by one. So now you see first one, destruction of subject matter. So suppose when there is two parties in an agreement or in an contract, that means whenever there is an agreement there must be one subject matter. If subject matter is not available at the time of formation of the contract or at the time of execution of contract, what happens? Offer lapses or offer gets itself or offer gets cancelled. That is the meaning of this one, destruction of subject matter. You see, if there is a destruction of subject matter of the agreement before it is accepted by the offeree, that means suppose I am going to sell something to the another party. Before I get the acceptance from another party, what is the subject matter? Suppose property is a subject matter and property is lost because of earthquake. So property is lost because of earthquake. In that case, I cannot execute the contract, isn't it? Because subject matter is not there. So that is the meaning of this one. You see example, A offers to sell his cow. A offers to sell his cow to B for 25,000, giving him 1 week time to accept it. But what happens during that week? There is a death of the cow. So now subject matter is lost before the acceptance is given by B. So now cow is the subject. So subject is died. So now subject matter is not there. So contract gets cancelled. So A cannot execute the contract because subject matter is not there. So termination or lapse of an offer. First one, under what circumstances? First one is destruction of subject matter. So now, second one, death or insanity of the party. So this is very simple. What do you mean by insanity? Suppose a person goes of person becomes of unsound mind, or any one party dies. Either offerer dies or the offeree dies. We cannot execute the contract. Why? Because to become a contract, there must be two parties, isn't it? To become a contract, to form a contract, there must be two parties. So if there is no two parties involved, in that case, offer cancels itself. Offer cancels by itself. That is by death or insanity of the party. Third one, by lapse of time. What do you mean by lapse of time? Offer must be accepted within a specified period of time. If offeree or the acceptor of the offer fails to accept the offer within a specified period of time, in that case, what happens? Our offer lapses by itself. See this. When an offer gives a timeline for acceptance of the offer to the offeree, offer gets lapsed on the expiration of the prescribed time. So what example you can give? See this example. A offers to sell 10 bags of wheat to B, and along with that he puts certain condition. What is the condition? He informs him to send his acceptance by the end of this month or by the first of next month. So suppose this is the month of September, I want acceptance by October 1st. Okay, now we accept the same after the first week of next month, that is he accepts after 7th of October. In that case, offer given by A stands cancelled. Why it stands cancelled? What is the reason it stands cancelled? Can you tell me? Because there is a lapse of time. So already time is over for that offer. After the expiration of the time, you cannot accept the offer. So that is the simple thing. So by the lapse of time, the third point. Yes. Now fourth one, by non-fulfillment of a condition precedent to acceptance. So acceptance cannot be conditional. So one thing you need to remember is acceptance cannot be conditional, but offer can be conditional. That means when I am going to give you an offer, I can put n number of condition. But at the time of acceptance of an offer by you, you cannot put additional condition to the prescribed offer given by me. Whether that is clear, that means acceptance there should not be no any condition. In the case of offer there can be n number of condition. So what is the meaning of this sentence now? By non-fulfillment of a condition precedent to acceptance. That means if the offeree fails to fulfill the condition given by the offerer, offer gets terminated. Suppose I put condition in my offer. Suppose I put condition in my offer. What condition I may put? I may say that you should accept my offer within a specified date. You should accept the offer within a specified date. If the offeree or the acceptor fails to accept that offer within the specified date, in that case offer lapses or offer collapse. So that means what? Offer comes to an end. So that is the fourth one, by non-fulfillment of a condition. Then, by non-acceptance in the mode prescribed. What do you mean by the acceptance in the mode prescribed? There may be several ways to accept the offer. Either with the help of electronic mail, we can accept the offer, or with the help of letter, or with the help of written statement, or with the help of words spoken, we can accept the offer. Orally or expressly, we can accept the offer, or else impliedly by our conduct we can accept the offer. So in the offer there must be there is certain words in the offer. What happens, there must be there will be some conditions mentioned in the offer. What are the mode in which you are going to accept the offer? See this. Now an offer lapses or revoked by the offerer. What do you mean by revoked by the offer? What do you mean by revoke? Revoke means what? Can you tell me? What do you mean by revoking the offer? Revoking the offer means what? Can you tell me the right word for the revoke? What do you mean by revoking the offer? What do you mean by revoke? Can you tell me now? Anyone? What do you mean by revoking the offer? What is it? Revoking the offer means cancelling. Okay. So revoking means it is a withdrawal of an offer. That means getting back the offer. Suppose I have made one offer. Now I am revoking it. That means I am getting back my offer. That means I am cancelling my offer. So now you see, an offer lapses or revoked by the offerer when the acceptance is not made by the offeree according to the mode prescribed. However, an offerer has to give the notice to the offeree within the reasonable time that acceptance is not according to the mode prescribed. What example you can give for this? So now I make you an offer. That is, now I want to sell my car to you. So, and along with that, I will put you one condition. You should accept my offer with email only. That is with the help of electronic mail only. But what you do, you call me and say that I want to purchase your car. So in that case, offer is not according to the mode prescribed. Why offer is not according to the mode prescribed? I said you should accept the offer in the form of email, not by any other means. In that case, I can withdraw the offer. If I want, I can withdraw the offer. That option is available for the offerer. So that is non-acceptance in the mode prescribed. Then by revocation. Revocation means it is withdrawal or cancellation of the offer. Same thing. Withdrawal or cancellation of the offer. Once the acceptance is received by him, offerer cannot revoke the offer given by him. That means what? Suppose I am going to sell you my property. Suppose I am going to sell you my property. You agree to purchase my property. In that case, a contract is already made between me and you. Now, after the acceptance is given by you, I cannot withdraw my offer. That means I cannot say that I am not going to sell you my property. So that is the meaning of this one. That is the meaning of this one. See this. Revocation. This is very important. Once the acceptance is received by him, offerer cannot revoke or cancel the offer given by him. So now, last one, by rejection. Rejection means that is refusal. Rejection of an offer means refusal of an offer by the offeree. Rejection may be express or implied. So in the contract there is a provision is given to the offerer. So similar type of provision is also made available to the offeree. Suppose my offer is not proper, or the offeree or the acceptor of the offer is not satisfied with the offer given to him. In that case, what he can do, he can cancel the offer, or else he can give the rejection. Instead of acceptance, he can give the rejection to that offer. So that is meant by rejection. So now you can see termination or lapse of an offer can be done under various circumstances. So what are those circumstances? One is destruction of subject matter, by death or insanity, by lapse of time, then non-fulfillment of a condition precedent to acceptance, by non-acceptance in the mode prescribed, then by revocation and by rejection. So whether this is clear now, termination or lapse of an offer, what and all circumstances are there, we have discussed. Whether this is clear now, termination and lapse of an offer. Yes, Akamsha is saying it is very clear. Okay. Now we need to, Pooja is also saying yes. Now we need to discuss about the case law. In law subject, in our syllabus, there is 10 case laws is given. So we have already discussed Balfour versus Balfour case law. So now other case laws will come in the coming chapter. So in this chapter also there are various case laws. Now first thing we need to see is Carlyle versus Carbolic Smoke Ball Company 1893. The case law name Carlyle versus Carbolic Smoke Ball Company 1893. So what is this case law is all about? So what is this case law is all about? In the last class, I said that in the case of general offer, acceptance need not to be communicated. So you said it should be communicated. I said it should not be communicated. It is not necessary that the acceptor of the offer in the case of general offer need to communicate his acceptance. So why I said because of this case law. So now we need to discuss about this case law. See this Carlyle versus Carbolic Smoke Ball Company 1893. So now here there is one Carbolic Smoke Ball Company. What they do? They prepare some medicine. What medicine they prepare? They prepare a medicine called carbolic smoke ball. Okay. So now while preparing the medicine, the company gives advertisement in several newspapers. They say that reward of €100 would be given to any person who contracts influenza after using the smoke ball according to the printed direction. So now here the term influenza means what? What do you mean by the term influenza? What is influenza? After using the smoke ball medicine, if anyone contracts with influenza, then company will going to give you an reward. Company is going to give you an reward. Okay, so what do you mean by influenza now? Can you tell me, anyone? What do you mean by influenza? What is influenza? Can you tell me the meaning of influenza? So influenza means one kind of flu disease, one kind of flu. So even after using the medicine, if anyone gets influenza or flu, company will reward him with €100. Now this is clear. Okay. Now Mrs. Carlyle, one lady, Mrs. Carlyle, a lady uses that medicine according to the directions given but still contracts influenza. Even after using the medicine, Mrs. Carlyle gets influenza or a flu. So now what she will do? She will demand for a reward because the company already stated in the newspaper that they will give you an reward. They will give you a reward if anyone gets influenza after using the medicine as per the printed direction. Now, the lady used that medicine as per the printed direction. Now, my question is whether the company is eligible to give the reward to Mrs. Scarlett. Whether the company is eligible to give the reward to Mrs. Carlyle. Can you tell me now whether company need to give the reward to Carlyle or not? Whether company need to give a reward to Carlyle or not? Can you tell me yes or no? Yes or no? Can you answer now? Can you answer yes or no in the chat box? Amrita is saying no. Okay. What about others? What about others? What about others? Only one answer I got. Amrita is saying no. Okay, if it is no, why it is no? If it is no, why it is no? What is the reason, Amrita? Can you tell me what is the reason you are saying no? Yes. See, the offer made by the company in the newspaper, what kind of an offer is this? Offer made by the company in the newspaper. That means what? It is a general offer, isn't it? Anyone can accept that offer, isn't it? Anyone can accept that offer. So now Mrs. Carlyle demands the reward by the from the company, but company refuses to give the reward, stating that there was no communication of acceptance of the offer by Mrs. Carlyle. That means company claiming that there is no acceptance is communicated to them. That means Carlyle she has never communicated her acceptance to the company, Carbolic Smoke Ball company, like that they are claiming. But what was the judgment given in the court of law? What was the judgment given in the court of law? That we need to see. Now you see the judgment. The court held that she could recover the reward from the company. That means what? Carlyle is entitled to receive the reward from the company on the grounds that companies offer through public advertisement amounts to general offer. Already we have said it is a general offer. So general offer may be accepted by any member of the public. So court also held that there is no need of communicating the acceptance in the case of general offer given by the company. Company was forced to give the reward of 100 euros to Mrs. Carlin. So that is why I said in the last class, in the case of general offer, acceptance need not to be communicated. Acceptance need not to be communicated. That's what the court said in the case of Carlyle versus Carbolic Smoke Ball Company Limited. So whether this case law is clear, whether this case law is clear, any one case law will come for 6 mark question. 6 mark question, any one out of 10, any one case law will come for 6 mark question. Okay, so you need to know the case law in case if you are attending or if you are attempting the case law question. Okay, so whether there is any doubt regarding Carlyle versus Carbolic Smoke Ball Company Limited, I hope there is no doubt in this. It is very clear. It is a case law regarding general offer, and in the case of general offer, acceptance can be need not to be communicated to the offerer. Acceptance need not be communicated to the offerer. So that is the case law. Okay. Now, next case law we are going to see is Harvey versus Facey. Harvey versus Facey 1893. Harvey versus Facey 1893. Okay. So now we need to see this case law. See, now there are two parties, Harvey and Facey. There are two parties, Harvey and Facey. Case law of 1893. Okay, now we need to see Harvey telephoned to Facey asking the letter. That means Harvey telephoned and asked the Facey to inform him whether he would sell the bumper hall pen, and if he is willing to sell, at what price. So now you are the Harvey and I am the Facey. So you are calling me and you are asking me that I have one pen. Okay, I have one pen. So if you want to sell that pen, would you like to sell that pen? And if you want to sell that pen, at what price you are selling, you are asking me. Okay, now that is fine. Okay, now we are going to see The Facey informed the Harvey about the lowest price. So lowest price is 900 euro. So now I inform you that lowest price of the pen is 900 euros. Okay. So now we need to see the next thing. Okay. Now, without stating at what price he is going to sell the pen. So, I just stated you the minimum price. I just stated you the minimum price without stating at what price or up to what amount I can sell my pen. So, I can sell my pen at 950 euros, 1000 euro, 1100 euro. It may be anything. But I just stated the minimum price of the pen, starting rate of that pen. Okay, now Harvey telephoned that he would buy at that price. So now Harvey telephoned, that is first person, he telephoned and he said that he said to the Facey that he will buy that pen at that price, that is at 900 euro. So whether this amounts to an acceptance by the Harvey, whether this is a valid offer. Now my question is whether this is a valid offer. In this case law, whether this is a valid offer. No. Yes, correct answer. Why it is no? Can you tell me why it is no? Why it is no? Because offer is not clearly stated and offer is not communicated. Yes, statement of the price is not an offer. Correct answer. Statement of the price is not an offer. So now you see. Now what happens next? How he would buy at that price. So he telephoned Facey and Facey gave no reply to the telephone call. So now second person will give no reply to the telephone call. So silent doesn't amount to acceptance. There is one more thing you need to know. Mere silence. If you keep silent, that doesn't mean that you have accepted the offer or you have accepted anything. If I am asking anything, if you keep silent, that doesn't mean that you have accepted whatever I am going to say. So that is the meaning of this one. Okay. Now, Harvey filed a suit against the Facey in the court of law for the recover of loss because now he is not going to sell the pen to Harvey. Facey is not going to sell the pen to Harvey. So Harvey filed a suit against Facey in the court of law. So now it was held that in the court there was no contract at all between the party. So this is very important. There is no contract between the party. What is the reason? Because there is no offer from Facey to Harvey. There is no offer from Facey to Harvey means he has not accepted or he has not said that I am going to sell my pen at this particular price. He said only the minimum price of the pen. Okay, so Harvey could not get the compensation from Facey. That means Harvey cannot recover the amount or Harvey cannot recover the damages from Facey. So whether this case law is clear now, Harvey versus Facey, no offer. This is the case law about no offer. So whether this is clear, Harvey versus Facey case law, offer is not communicated. You can say that in this case law offer is not communicated and silence doesn't amount to the acceptance. Silent doesn't amount to the acceptance of the offer. So whether this is clear now, Harvey versus Facey, answer. Answer me. Case law Harvey versus Facey. Disha is saying yes. Rajat is saying yes. So now, before that we have discussed Carlyle versus Carbolic Smoke Ball Company. Now we discussed Harvey versus Facey. And in the last chapter we discussed Balfour versus Balfour. That is intention to create legal relationship. Okay. Now next thing comes is second part of this chapter. Till now we have discussed the parts of offer itself. Now second part of this chapter is acceptance. So now what do you mean by acceptance? So to become an contract there must be an offer plus acceptance. That means there should be a one party giving the offer, another party should accept the offer, then it becomes an agreement. An agreement which is enforceable at law becomes an this one contract. Agreement enforceable by law becomes a contract. So what do you mean by acceptance? An offer by itself does not create any legal relationship. But when the offer is accepted by the offeree, a legal relationship is created. So only offer doesn't amount to contract. isn't it? Do you agree with me? Only offer doesn't mean that contract is created. Just I have gave the offer, other party has not replied or accepted the offer. Whether it becomes a contract, no. To become a contract, there should be offer, there should be acceptance, and there should be an agreement. Offer acceptance is equal to agreement. Agreement enforceable by law is contract. Okay. So now, and the offer gets converted into a promise. Once the offer gets accepted, it converts into a promise and it imposes an obligation and on the offeree to perform it. That means what? When offer is given to you and when you accept that offer, that means you are going to do something, isn't it? When you accept that offer, suppose I am selling anything to you, you accepted the offer, that means you are going to do something. What you are going to do? Something, you are going to pay the money to me, isn't it? You are going to pay the money to me, that means you are going to do something. That is why obligation is created for offeree. Obligation is created for offeree means offer is nothing but acceptor of that offer. Acceptor of that offer. So now it is very clear about acceptance. What is the definition given for acceptance? Once you see section 2b of Indian Contract Act of 1872 defines acceptance as where the person to whom the proposal is made signifies his assent thereto. What do you mean by assent thereto? Assent thereto means suppose I am making an offer, you are stating your willingness. You are stating your willingness to do something. So that willingness is known as assent thereto. See this, when the person to whom the proposal is made signifies his assent thereto, the proposal is said to be accepted. Okay, now the proposal when accepted becomes a promise. So we have already know that offer is equal to proposal. Proposal when accepted it becomes a promise, and when promise is created, that means there is an obligation on the accepted party or on the offeree to perform the contract. So that is the meaning of acceptance. Okay. So now you see there are two parties. We have discussed these two parties. In the case of offer also we have discussed these two parties. So what are those two parties? The person making the proposal is called as promiser. The person making the proposal is called as promiser, or else you can call him as the offerer. Promiser, offerer is one and the same. And the person accepting the same is called promisee. Promisee, offeree, or acceptor is the same. Promisee, offeree, or acceptor is the same. Okay, so now we know about the two parties, promiser and promisee. So now what and all types of acceptance we can have in Indian Contract Act of 1872. So now the question comes, there are two types of acceptance. One is expressed and one is implied. So in the last class also we have discussed about the express. Express contract means either by the word spoken or written. So here express acceptance means either you are stating it orally, either you are communicating your acceptance orally, or you are communicating your acceptance in a written format or with the help of letter, with the help of email. So these and all comes to the belongs to the express acceptance. See this, it is an acceptance which is accepted by the offeree in express of word, either spoken or written. Such word may be word of mouth, over telephone, through mail, email, etc. So now it is very clear. Express acceptance means word spoken or written. Now second thing comes is implied acceptance. So what do you mean by implied acceptance other than the words spoken or written? That means by the conduct of the parties or according to the circumstances, the offeree will do certain act, so it will lead to acceptance. So by the conduct of the party leads to implied acceptance. So now you see implied acceptance. When an acceptance is made otherwise than the word spoken or written, it is called implied acceptance. In other word, what you can say, it is an acceptance which is inferred from the circumstances of the case or from the conduct of the party. So here there is an example of the auction. So in the auction, suppose there are 100 people who came for an auction. So there is one bidding process or auction process. So the commodity or the property is going to be sold to whom? The person who makes the highest bid, isn't it? The person who makes the highest bid will get the property or the thing. That is the rule of the auction, isn't it? So if you see the IPL auction also the same thing. Those who make the highest bid or those who make the highest amount for the player, they will get the they will get that player for that particular franchise. That is the thing here. So now here the case is how it is implied. How it is implied. So there is one auctioneer who conduct the auctioning process. Who conduct the auctioning process. So now what he will do? He will strike the hammer. He will strike the hammer. At the time of striking the hammer, what does that mean? That means the person who made the highest bid has accepted the offer. The person who made the highest bid accepted that offer. So that is the meaning of striking the hammer thrice. That is the meaning of striking the hammer thrice. So see this, the striking the hammer by the auctioneer at highest bid at an auction sale amount to implied acceptance. So now you know the types of acceptance. There are two types, express acceptance and implied acceptance. So whether this is clear now, type of acceptance, express and implied. Whether this is clear, any doubt regarding types of acceptance, express and implied? No doubt, right? No doubt regarding the types of acceptance. I hope there is no doubt. I hope there is no doubt. So can you tell me whether there is any doubt regarding express or implied acceptance? So I assume that there is no doubt. So no one is answering. I assume that there is no doubt. So now, next thing we need to see here, essential or legal rules of valid acceptance. So what and all rules are there for an valid acceptance? So if you see in the last class we have discussed the valid rule for offer. So some of the rules are similar for acceptance also. Some of the rules are similar for acceptance also. That we need to see now. That we need to see. See the first thing. An offer must be absolute and conditional. Whether this statement is right or wrong, can you tell me? Offer must be absolute and conditional. Whether this statement is right or wrong. Can you tell me? Answer now. Answer please. On acceptance must be absolute and conditional. Whether this statement is correct. Whether this statement is correct. Can you tell me? Amrita is saying yes. Anusha is saying yes. But I am saying no. Why? Because of acceptance cannot be conditional. So there is correction. See this? There is correction. In the notes you need to make the correction. Acceptance must be absolute and unconditional. Acceptance must be absolute and unconditional. So there cannot be a condition attached to the acceptance. So there is a correction. Okay. So conditional acceptance or counter offer will lead to no valid acceptance. See this. Conditional acceptance or counter offer. What do you mean by counter offer? In the last class we have discussed offer for an offer. Offer for an offer is a counter offer, so it will amount to no acceptance. See the example. A offer to sell washing machine for 15,000 to B. A offers to sell washing machine for 15,000 to B, but D accept to purchase it for 12,000. So what is the example of this? This is the example of counter offer, because offer is not agreed to purchase the washing machine at the prescribed price. What is the prescribed price here? 15,000. What the offer is saying, I am going to purchase for 12,000. So there is a counter offer. In this case, it doesn't amount to acceptance. See this, counter offer is not an acceptance. So now second thing we need to discuss is acceptance must be made by the offeree only, not by anyone else. That means now I will tell you an example. So there are three parties A, B, C. So now A is going to make an offer to B. So now who is going to accept the offer? So B only and not C. C cannot accept the offer because offer is made to B only. So B is going to accept the offer. So this is clear. An offer cannot be accepted by the person other than the person to whom it is made. If someone else accept it, in the example, if he accept the offer, then it is no acceptance. Then it is no acceptance or not a valid acceptance. Yes. So now the third point. Third point is acceptance must be communicated to the offerer by the offeree. So acceptance must be communicated by the to the offerer by the offeree. So who is offeree? The person is going to the person one who is going to accept the offer. Offeree and the acceptor is same. So obviously acceptor is going to communicate this one. Communicate this one to the proposer. Proposer means here offerer. See this. Mental acceptance is no acceptance. That means if you keep silent, that is no acceptance. Acceptance by the acceptor should be brought to the knowledge of the offerer either by the correspondence or through phone or telephone mail or doing an act as required by the offer. That means you can send anyone else. You can send anyone else to communicate that you have accepted the offer through correspondence, or else you can use various mode, email, phone, anything you can use, letter, anything you can use. Okay, so that is the meaning of the point. Acceptance must be communicated to the offerer by the offeree. Okay. Now fourth one. Fourth one, it must be made according to the mode prescribed or reasonable mode. Suppose the your mode in the example, if you take any example, now mode prescribed is mail, email. By email, you should accept the offer, but you are accepting the offer by letter, written letter. So now you are not following the mode prescribed. In that case, it is not a valid acceptance. See this. If the offerer prescribes the particular mode of acceptance, the acceptance must be given according to the mode prescribed by the offerer. See this. If the X is an offerer, expects Y to give his acceptance through electronic mail. So here electronic mail is a mode prescribed, but Y accept the offer through letter. Yes, so X can refuse the offer. Yes, X can refuse or cancel the offer or take back the offer. Refuse to accept the acceptance. Yes, correct. So now it must be given within a reasonable time. If time is mentioned within 1 month, suppose the time is mentioned within 1 month, so the acceptance must be given within 1 month. So you cannot make the acceptance after the 1 month. See this. Within the specific period only acceptance must be given. Acceptance cannot precede an offer. Next thing is acceptance cannot precede an offer. What do you mean by this? Acceptance cannot precede an offer. Can you tell me? Acceptance cannot precede an offer means first there should be an offer, then only there can be an acceptance. First there should be an offer, then only there can be acceptance. Whether it is possible, there is acceptance first, then there is offer. Whether it is possible, there is a acceptance first, then there is a offer. That means before giving, no, Rajat is saying no. Yes, correct answer. Because before giving the offer itself, if you say yes, that means what? That is in ignorance of the offer. You stated or you are giving your acceptance. That means without the knowledge of the offer, you are giving your acceptance. That is not possible. First, you should listen the acceptance. First, you should listen the question. Then only you should answer, isn't it? That is the way it is. Acceptance cannot precede an offer. That means acceptance should follow or succeed the offer. In other words, offer must be given first, then acceptance by the offeree. Acceptance must be given only after knowing the offer, not before knowing it. So now this is clear, very clear. So now seventh one, it must show an intention on the part of the acceptor to fulfill the terms of the promise. That means what? Once if you have accepted the offer, that means it is your duty to perform that offer. It is your duty to perform that offer. That means I am going to sell my property to you. Now you have agreed to pay the money to me. Now it is a duty, or now it is an obligation on the part of the acceptor to the money to the offerer, or to pay the money to me. So that is the meaning of this one. That is the meaning of this one. See this. When the acceptance is given by the person, he must be ready to perform the promise. So what example you can give me here? See this. A offers to sell his brand watch, wristwatch to B for 5,000, and B accepted even though he is not serious. Suppose I am selling you a wristwatch and you accept the offer even though you are not serious. That means even though you are not buying the watch, you said yes. Simply for fun purpose, you said yes. So that is not possible. That is not possible. See this, the acceptance by B is a not a valid acceptance. Acceptance by the B is not a valid acceptance. Why? Because there is no intention to perform the offer. That is the reason. There is no intention to perform the offer by the offeree. So now eighth one. What is the eighth one? Acceptance must be given before offer lapses. So that means suppose I make you one offer and I say that acceptance must be given within 1 month and you gave the acceptance after 1 month. In that case, it is not a valid acceptance. Why? Because time is mentioned within 1 month. You have not given the acceptance within 1 month. In that case, what happens? In that case, offer can be revoked or withdrawn by the offerer. Offer can be revoked or withdrawn by the offerer. Yes, it cannot be implied from silence. Ninth one is it cannot be implied from silence. What cannot be implied from silence? Acceptance cannot be implied from silence. That means if you keep silent, that doesn't amount to acceptance. If you keep silent, that is not an acceptance. See this, silence is not a mode of acceptance. Tenth one, tenth one, acceptance must be the whole of the offer. Acceptance must be the whole of the offer. That means part of the offer accepted is not a valid acceptance. What example you can give here? Part of the offer accepted is not a valid acceptance. Suppose I want to sell you two laptops. Suppose I want to sell you two laptops and the price of the two laptop is 1 lakh. Price of the two laptop is 1 lakh. But what you do, you say that I purchase only one laptop for 50,000. I purchase only, that means you are saying now that you are going to purchase only one laptop for 50,000. What is my offer? I am going to sell you two laptops for 1 lakh. Now you are saying you are going to purchase only one laptop for 50,000. Whether it is a valid acceptance? No, because you are accepting part of the offer, not the entire offer. What is the entire offer? Entire offer is two laptops. So you are not accepting the full offer. See this. A offered to sell two air conditioner to B for 50,000, but B is ready to buy only one of the two air conditioner. So what happens here? There is no contract between A and B, as A is very particular about his offer. As A is very particular about his offer. So whether there is any doubt regarding the rules, so these are the rules. See this, 10 rules are there for acceptance. 10 rules are there for legal rules of valid acceptance. Whether there is any doubt, can you reply me whether there is any doubt? Whether there is any doubt regarding the rules of the acceptance? Rajat is saying no doubt. So what about others? Kushal is saying no doubt. So it is very clear. We have seen it with the help of example. Okay, this is very clear. Last thing we need to discuss about today's class is one case law. One case law, because we need to move fastly law, because we have to see accounts also. That is the thing. And see this case law. Last case law we need to see is Feldhaus versus Bindley. Feldhaus versus Bindley, that is 1862. Case law name Feldhaus versus Bindley, 1862. So now Feldhaus is referred as F. Okay, so Feldhaus means F. So in this example, wherever there is a Feldhaus, we have written F. Wherever there is a Bindley, we have written B. Okay, now what is the case law? F offered by the letter to buy his nephew's horse for 30 euro. So now Feldhaus want to buy one horse from his nephew for 30 euro. And he will say, and Feldhaus says that if I hear no more from you, I shall consider that horse is mine. That means what? If nephew is not replying, that means Feldhaus will consider that horse is his. That is, horse becomes his. So that is the meaning of this one. If I hear no more from you, I shall consider that your horse is mine. Like that he says. So now the nephew gave no reply. nephew gave no reply at all to F. So this is very important. Nephew, uncle and nephew. So nephew gave no reply to the Feldhaus, but he says to his auctioneer. He says to his auctioneer. Who is the auctioneer here? Auctioneer is Bindley. Who is auctioneer? Auctioneer is Bindley. So he is referred as B here. He is referred as B. So now nephew will tell his auctioneer not to sell that particular horse, as he intended to sell that